The meeting of the minds goes back to the ancient Greeks, when philosophers like Aristotle and Socrates used to gather in what they called agoras, a space where philosophy and business and politics were discussed amongst some of Athens' best and brightest. These meetings generated a cauldron of ideas on how to organize society and achieve happiness. But today, when the so-called brightest minds get together, it's nothing but a debaucherous insane asylum. This week, thousands of the world's most elite executives and politicians jetted off to Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. Besides January 6th, it's their favorite day of the year. At the party, sociopaths indulge in the highest quality caviar, endless champagne, and psychedelic mushrooms. And where there's drugs, there's sex. It's the busiest week of the year for Swiss escorts, $700 an hour or $2,500 a night. Rates were much lower when Trump was president. Thank you, Bidenomics. You can almost smell the magic of the place when you're there, is how one well-connected regular describes the week. But of course, the magic isn't for everyone. It's an invite-only event. So you have to be somebody just to get through the door. And if you're in, guests are slapped with wristbands and divided by class. White with shiny blue means you're a VIP. Plain white, married to a VIP. Green, you're a VIP's escort. Not that type of escort. They don't get wristbands. At Davos, everyone feels special. But before they get to business, they have to break the DEI ice.
My spirit name is Ozawa Makwa, which means brown bear in Ojibwe. My father is Algonquin Métis and Irish. My mother is African Jamaican and Indigenous Jamaican. So I get to bring these intersections and these lenses to my work.
And coming as a white man of advanced age from a continental European background.
Inclusion is about see me and hear me and make space for me.
And so we should all be doing this because you can make a profit. Inclusion is profitable.
Oh, so once they get through the spirit names and the white shaming, Davos gets to the heart of the issue. So, of course, they bring in the guy who invented the internet.
The fossil fuel polluters use a portion of their wealth from digging up dead things from the earth and burning them in ways that destroy the future of humanity. They use some of their wealth to confuse people. I get a little exercised about this because I've watched it for a long time, and it's driven by pure greed. Pure greed. If we deploy electric vehicles, solar, wind, batteries, green hydrogen, and the rest, and we get to true net zero, temperatures on the Earth will stop going up almost immediately.
Gore's worth $200 million, and his greed is infinite because he's making money to save the world. The men who make money building the world, they're greedy. They should go bankrupt and be arrested for climate crimes. How'd Gore get to Davos, by the way? He didn't bicycle. And remember last year he said we'd die from rain bombs? Still waiting on the rain bombs. And once the mascot's finished, it's time to plan the future. Not their futures, your future.
That order seems to not be the order anymore. We are on the way to a new order, so we are between orders.
A new world order. So what will that look like? But the point is you have nothing to be worried about. Well, unless you like to eat.
In most of Asia, rice is still grown with traditional methods, which requires flooding the fields. And when you flood the fields, you basically kill the weeds with water, which sounds good, except it takes huge amounts of water. They basically decompose underwater, and when they do that, they release methane. And so actually rice production is one of the largest producers of methane, which is, many times more toxic in terms of greenhouse gas emissions.
Rice is like the top crop in the world. What are they going to replace it with? Lab rice. Yum. Now, so what are the farmers and the fishermen going to do? Well, they don't need jobs because they'll be arrested.
We have a kind of cultural, very ingrained habit of not taking damage to nature as seriously as we take damage to people and property. If you're campaigning for human rights, at least mass murder, torture, all of these things are serious crimes. but there's no equivalent in the environmental space. With ecocide, what we see is actually what people are trying to do, what businesses are trying to do, is make money, is farm, is fish, is do all of these things that are producing energy and so on. What's missing is the awareness and the conscience around the side effects, around the collateral damage.
Imagine you're taking your son fishing this weekend, got your lines in the water. Next thing you know, you're in handcuffs for ecocide. Those fish have constitutional rights. And if that doesn't work, we're still not at net zero, you get slapped with a carbon footprint tax.
I would say digital and sustainable need to go hand in hand. And what do I mean? Yeah? There are initiatives like we are driving as industries, Catena X, where we are trying to measure the footprint throughout the value chain. And what would that give us? Yeah? I would have a bottle like this, and I could tell you from the iron ore to the logistics to the glass, what is the carbon footprint of this bottle? And then I could price it. And I could tell you now you are doing good because you now pay 20 cents more, but you are very conscious that you have a green product. Yeah?
No, James Bond villain, no. I have a hunch their products like jets, escorts, and shrooms will be exempt from the carbon footprint tax. So forget about cheap gas, rice, and protein. You're not entitled to that. You're also not entitled to an opinion.
Disinformation is a security threat. And maybe not many noticed, but it was part of the Russian military doctrine that they will start information war. And we are in it now. And disinformation is a very powerful tool. We are focusing on improving of the system where the people will get the facts right. We don't speak about opinions. We are not correcting anyone's opinions or language. Yeah, this is about the facts.
Oh, the old CIA Jedi mind trick. Label everything that gets in your way, like Trump or the truth, as Russia disinformation, which is a national security threat, and so therefore must be destroyed by the all-encompassing power of the national security state. Question the election or the effectiveness of electric cars, now you're a national security threat. And you're on the list like the parents who raise their voices at school board meetings. So, you know what just would make everything much easier? If we just stop resisting and submit to mind control.
Bringing the kinds of sensors that people have become accustomed to, such as rings and in watches, into everyday devices, but it breaches the final frontier of privacy, that is, what people are thinking and feeling. Initially, what they will be capable of doing is very high-level brain state reading. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad? They maybe enable interaction like up, down, left, right.
So slap some sensors on your forehead and let Davos read your thoughts. And if we're angry at Davos, up, down, left, right, now we're mellow. Don't you see? These are well-intentioned people. The people that brought us the first pandemic are now hard at work preparing for the second.
There are things that are unknown that may happen. And anything happening is a matter of when, not if. And that was when we gave the name Disease X. So Disease X is a placeholder for unknown disease. You may even call COVID as the first Disease X. And it may happen again.
The guy who covered up the Chinese lab leak is getting his ducks in a row for the next Chinese lab leak. We're in good hands. How do I know? Because John Kerry said so.
I am convinced beyond any doubt that because of the decisions being made in the marketplace now, because, I mean, you know as well as I do, even if, I don't want this, obviously, but if you wound up with a different president who was opposed to climate crisis, I got news for you. No one politician anywhere in the world can undo what is happening now. It's the biggest transformation in the economies of the world in all of human history.
Did John Kerry just say saving the world is a business opportunity? So if Kerry's wrong and the world doesn't need saving, is it still a business opportunity? But if you say Kerry might be wrong, that's disinformation. because it threatens his business opportunity, don't you see? So you either shut your mouth, don't ask any questions, or the FBI is going to have a word. Why would we even doubt Kerry, even if he got his facts wrong? Kerry's a man with a facelift who married a ketchup heiress. He's got it figured out. He must know how to improve our lives. He improved his. Nah, Kerry's improving his life at the expense of yours. This is about extracting humanity from the human race. This is about wresting control of the land, sea, and air away from you so they can make you dependent on their food grown in their labs, put you in their cars, make you take their drugs, submit to their machines. They're putting the human spirit out of business. And they're right. It's a great business opportunity. It's vulture capitalism. They're preying on our bodies and won't be satisfied until they've picked our carcass clean. We were told the New World Order was just a conspiracy theory. Mind control, disinformation police, food and viruses from a lab. So Primetime's now decided next year, we're taking the show to Davos. We have to see this thing in person.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.